Well, I say it again because you're learning it. I'm really glad you came back because you didn't have to, did you? You could have left. Well, today I'm going to talk about the Super Bowl commercial. That's something that you will learn in broadcasting. You may not call it the Super Bowl commercial, but you have to learn how to do it. In fact, when I was in broadcasting school, one of the things that they emphasized profoundly, that they made a point of, and they drilled it into us, and we had to spend almost 14 weeks doing it. And here's what they told us, and here's what they taught us. They said, and the guy said to me, Stan, you think your job on radio is to be a star, to be entertaining, to be fun, unique, and perhaps have the girls chase you around because you're a radio star. He says, no, Mr. Hustad, you have one goal. Your goal is to help the man who runs that radio station, the man or woman who owns that show, to make more money. That's your job. This is a commercial business operation, and unless that radio program helps that person make more money, it doesn't matter what you do or how good you are. So we had to learn the art of the commercial. We had to learn the art of how to present a great commercial, perhaps even write the commercial, write the copy that would sell, so that a person who is listening to my show also hears a message from Joe's Grill down the road, and they say, well, that sounds like a great place. I think I'll stop in. And when Joe greets them, they say, well, how did you hear about Joe's Grill? And he said, oh, that's what I was listening to Stan Hustad on the radio, and it sounded like it might be an interesting place. And Joe says, that's great. And so when he gets the invoice for those commercials, he'll feel better because he remembers that somebody actually came into his shop because of what they heard on the radio. That was what it was all about. You had to be there in such a way that people found value in what you did, and they kept advertising on your program. They kept paying you for doing the program, and the clients and customers kept coming to the advertisers, and the advertisers kept paying the radio station, and the radio station would pay me. That was the deal. So that's why they said you have to learn how to do commercial copy, and you have to do the same thing. Now, one of the best exercises that I can give you is simply this. What if you have your class here on your favorite place, and you have someone do this, or let's say it's your other business, or whatever else you're doing is, someone comes to you, and I can make this into a much more elaborate story, let me tell you, but I'm not going to do it. We've got limited time here. Is someone has spent the $4 to $5 million to buy you a 60-second commercial on the Super Bowl, the American prime time football TV show. Hundreds of millions of people are watching and listening to the program. Oftentimes I challenge a business owner who says, well, if I could just get in front of enough people, if enough people would know how good I am and how good our stuff is, I could make it. And I said, well, what if someone gave you the opportunity to tell people how good you were and what you could do? What would you say to them? What would you do to keep them interested? In effect, how would you take the opportunity to do a 60-second commercial to gain an audience, to keep them engaged, to keep them interested, so they would click the switch and go and take your course or buy whatever else you're selling or engage the services that you offer? Now that's my challenge. I'm going to ask you to do a Super Bowl commercial for your class or course. What would it be? You got 60 seconds now. What are you going to say? What are you going to do that'll hopefully say, wow, I think I will check even more. I think I better read the description now. Oh, and then they actually do this. They click the buy button, and the money comes out of their account, goes on their credit card bill, and they've done something they really don't like to do. They've spent money. How can I get them to spend money for something that perhaps they're not sure, but you were able to engage them in such a way that they think it's worth the opportunity, worth the risk of engaging you to be their teacher, instructor. How would you do that? That's the challenge. By the way, you have to think about that always. Now let me tell you a little formula which I have somewhat plagiarized. I mean, it's in common use, but I have changed it to particularly reflect my point of view. And this is the formula, and I'm just going to simply do it this way. I could put big letters out there. It's what is called the AIDA formula, and I could do it maybe like YMCA, A, I, D, D, A. AIDA formula. Now that is a formula which tells you what you have to do in order to get people involved in online education. Please keep in mind that the first thing I had to do when I'm doing something either online or on the radio is one of my friends in the BBC, one of my teachers said to me, "Stan, they're doing something else, stop them." That's right, stop them. Get them to pay attention. What are you doing to keep their attention? This is the attention economy. There are millions of messages out there vying for people's attention. What are you doing to get their attention? And you have 3 to 5 seconds to get their attention, or they're liable to click and switch. That's right. 3 to 5, maybe 7 seconds to get their attention. After you've got their attention, you have to keep them interested. They say, "What? What's that about?" Attention, interest. What can you do now to keep them interested? Then you have to get them to desire something. Something has to happen that they would say, "I want to learn about that. That sounds good. I would like that." As I used to teach people is, when they're hearing about whatever is there, they would say, "That would be nice. That would be nice. I'd like to have that. That would be great. That will help me solve some of my problems. That'll help me be happier. That'll help me make more money. That'll make my life better." They say, "I would like that." So you've got to go, and by the way, you've got 60 seconds. Attention, interest, desire, decision. Finally, they have to say is, "I think I'll buy that. I think I'll pay for that." Something happened to take their desire that they felt to the point where they have actually decided to do something. And you have to help them make that decision and encourage them to make that decision. They say, "Buy now." Limited time. Buy now. Decide. So attention, interest, desire, decision. Now here's a stupid joke, and it's a trick question. 3 ducks decided to jump in the water. No, I'll go back. I messed that one up. By the way, when you're on the radio or the TV, you don't always go back and redo it over. You just admit your mistake. "Hey, messed that one up. I'm sorry." You become human. You become real. You become a human being. You become a person. You're not perfect. You're not necessarily the most beautiful, handsome. I messed the joke up. Here it is. 3 ducks were on a log, and 2 ducks decided to jump in. How many are left? Now, that's the trick question. You say, "Well, Stan, what do you mean? 3, 2? No, 3 ducks are left because they only decided to jump in. Yes, please forgive me, kind of corny. There has to be action. That's the final A. They actually have to do it. Well, then you have to help them take action. Now, I learned that as a commercial-making broadcaster. But you know what? That is how you make any sale, and that's how you literally keep people involved in any speech. Because remember, You want people not just to know something, you want them to do something. You want them to make some decisions, and you want them to take action. All good education is not just information, it helps people make changes. They make decisions, they take actions. Particularly in online education, people want their life to be better. They want to make more money. They want to know something that'll help them. You're trying to help them. And so it's always a persuasion process. It's always a teaching process. It's always a way of keeping them attentive, interested, desiring what you have and desiring to learn more, making the decision to do what you suggest they do, making the decision to go to the next lecture, and then continuing to take action. And at the end they say, hey, that was good. That was good. That was worth it. That was worth the money. It was worth the time. It was worth the energy. My life, my work, my business, my class can now be better. That's how you do it. So, lesson number 3. Do a Super Bowl commercial for your class. And then keep remembering that you are always working the same formula in your class. Attention, interest, desire, decision, action. Well, thank you. Those are the 3. Now there's a lot more, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. And that's next.